Shalom. I would like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kapatash, double honors to my bishops, apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the brothers out there pushing the word of sincerity and truth throughout the four corners of the earth, delivering a message to the elect out there to run the race of salvation. And shalom to the elect, the Habakarian, which consists of the men, women, and children that have the true, sincere faith of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. The ones that's looking to earn their wings of salvation, to flee the hour of temptation. And brother Amoff out of the DC Church coming at you with a video. Today's thing's killings, what people like to call Thanksgiving. And where they believe they coming in the name of family to bring food and gathering and ultimately they have thanks for the things that they have, but not knowing that they are celebrating the downfall and the genocide of the Native Americans, and the slaughter and the betrayal and the treachery that Esau, who's a so-called white man, has bestowed upon Native Americans, and which he's still doing to this day. How he's bewitching the people through the media, his propaganda, to bewitch the people to think a certain way. This is John 4:22, and it's mainly pertaining to the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. But we want to use the point to where it was, and it reads, "You worship, you know not what." These people don't know what they worship. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know they're summoning demons, right? These are the end of the year is like the biggest, wickedest holidays. Like we just left October and Halloween, and how they not knowing that candy that they receiving is actually offerings to a demon, a deity. It says, "We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews." Yes, salvation is only for the nation of Israel. And even within the nation of Israel, that you have a select few individuals that's going to be saved, a remnant that's going to be saved out of the nation of Israel, right? Because the other ones don't want to get it, So that's why the scriptures talk about how they want us to prophesy lies and deceit. So that's why the scriptures have to give us knowledge and wisdom and understanding to be subtle. So when somebody says, happy Thanksgiving, you might want to say happy holidays or happy Thanksgiving back, to keep that subtlety going on, because, you try to tell them about the truth and things of that nature, that he will become your enemy. The scriptures talk about, shall I tell you the truth and they'll become your enemy? The answer is yes, because Jake don't want to hear that. They hear to be merry and joyful, but we're not in the time of the morning. We're not in the time of mirth, we're in the time of mourning, because death and destruction is coming to this place. And, when you in the time of feasting and then you got that high, and you got them high endorphins going on and things of that nature, when those things are cut short, it breaks a person's mind to where you can no longer have fun and things of that nature. So that's how we know, that's another way how he's going to implement this, the MOTB, is to break the people of comfort, and then have them desperate need of want to have comfortability, getting back into the house, having a nice meal and things of that nature, not knowing that Esau Edom is just setting it up to where, he's implementing his new world order. But like the scripture says, he's about to go fill his belly, boom, things are going to go left for him. And that's why we believe, 2026, 2027 will be one of those, at least those years, like the nation is going to be in real great hurt, because they need to really hurt the dollar and hurt the minds of the people to where they're begging, they're begging to take the MOTB, the CHIP, and let me just get to that word, propaganda. Type this in Google. It says, what is propaganda? This is the AI overview. It says, propaganda is information, often based or misleading, used to influence the opinions. There's a statistic saying like 95% of the people don't think for themselves. So they got the algorithms to make people think a certain type of way. So they could easily weed out the people that's with the NWO, New World Order, and then people who are not, which will be easily taken out. It says opinions, emotions, and behaviors of a group to benefit the sponsor. It can take many forms, including posters, news, advertising, social media, and aims to promote a specific idea or cause by strategically selecting and presenting information, sometimes selectively omitting the full picture, like basically taking out some of the picture to where you can't see the whole spectrum. You're looking at only from what they show you. And I want to, of course, the AI overview gives you some things, tools, media, but one of the things that stuck out was techniques. It says it employs various techniques to persuade, such as using emotional appeals, slogans, symbols, and often relies on repetition to make a message seem more creditable. So when you see those leaves, you see the cornucopia with the fruits and the things and the turkey. You kind of think of warm family love and things of that nature, not knowing behind that is deceitful and death and destruction. To where he destroyed and ripped apart families. It says example. During the World War II, the U.S. used "I want you" poster to encourage military enlistment, as noted by study.com. The thing about it, look, they'll use posters and mainly slogans. Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Eventually, through over time, throughout generation and generation, that people will actually believe that this is something that's for family. Coming together as one, not knowing that we're not supposed to be together in the first place. All right, and you know what? Let me grab. I like to call it Thanksgiving scripture. It says, before I grab that, this is Psalms 35 verse 7. It says, "For without cause have they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he have hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. And my soul shall be joyful in the Lord, Yahweh. It shall rejoice in his salvation. My bones shall say, Lord Yahweh, who is like unto thee, which deliverest the poor from him that is too strong for him. Yeah, the poor and the needy from him that spoileth him." So the thing about it, like, we know that we need a higher power to overcome these trials and tribulations that we are facing, and it's through everything, because the scripture says, Psalms 50, the 55th chapter, it says, cast your burdens upon the Lord. And like the more you do it, the better you get at it, casting your burdens upon the Lord, and not forgetting, but letting go of the worries and the doubt. And that's the part to where you can tap in more into the spirit, to where, you can teach and learn and build and create, because that's how you basically overcome certain mental struggles and things of that nature, is to always constantly create, to clear the mind, or to build the mind, through repetition. And that's what it says, to be more credible, because that's when you believe more in your How About Shem Shai, and not in your own belief, your hands, your strength, and your discipline. But you will believe in your How About Shem Shai, and give you the courage and knowledge and wisdom and understanding to conquer through the spirit and power of your How About Shem Shai. It says, verse 11. Let me jump down. I'll just finish it. It says, false witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. They rewarded me for evil and good. They rewarded me evil for good, to the spoil of my soul. And one thing I just realized, it says they raised up false witnesses. Verse 11 in Psalm 35 and 11, it says, false witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things I knew not. Like, yeah, a lot of times these Edomite women will get ahead and say they looked, somebody looked at me a certain way, or somebody was stealing, or they stole my horse, or it might have been like another Edomite that did such things, but they will like blame it on Jake, whether it be the Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans. They like to blame things on Jake, and that's how one thing in the 12th verse, it says they rewarded me evil for good. They'll have Jake turn against Jake, going out to catch Jake and things of that nature. I was looking for the saying. It says, to catch an Apache, you have to be an Apache. but apparently I might have got things mixed up. But I'm not sure. You know, if you were watching this video, you know about like to catch an Apache. You have to be an Apache type of deal. You can put it in the comment section below. You know, so I could be corrected. It says but as for me, yeah, Psalms 35 and 13, it says, but as for me, when they were sick, my clothes were sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned unto my own bosom. I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bound down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in my adversity, they rejoiced and gathered themselves together. Yeah, they abjects, gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear me and call and cease not. You know. So with the genocide and downfall of the Native Americans, you know that's crazy. I just thought about what's that one saying? One little toe or a little foot catch a little Indian or something to that nature. And that's basically talking about the slaughter of the Native Americans, you know. And a lot of these people don't know, like, cause I was now that I'm thinking about it, they got a lot of little things. What's that thing? We all fall down. I'm not sure what the hell. I thought it was referring to, but I think it's still talking about thermonuclear missiles, like man, I forget how it goes. It's been so long, you know. That's why it's good to go over these things, because we know through his hypocrisy that, yeah, man, this man is wicked. He will not stop. It says his desire is as hell. You know, when you dig into the ground, I like to bring it down. It's like it's almost seems like forever. And see, when you look at a massive hole, like where they digging for gold or precious minerals and stones, like how big and deep, how the earth really goes. You know. It says, with hypocritical mockers and feasts, they gnashed upon me with their teeth. Lord, how long wilt thou look on? Rescue my soul from their destructions and my darling from the lions. You know, it says, I will give thee thanks in the great congregation. I will praise thee amongst much people. Let not them that are my enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause. You know, and that's the thing, man. You know, like they gather themselves and basically saying that, you know, God hath given us this land. Let me get that in Zechariah. This is Zechariah 11 and 5. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Esau, Edom don't hold themselves guilty to where they genocide the Native Americans, man. And then they do that to a bunch of nations, but yet these people are so hypnotized and bewitched that they have something called Stockholm Syndrome, which is a real thing, to where they'll love their oppressors. They'll love their captives, who hold themselves not who hold themselves not guilty, and they sell them, say, my bad, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherd pity them not. And that's the thing, man. Since I read that, I'm gonna get this, because I was looking for the things where, you know, how the cranberries represents like blood and things of that nature, and trying to get that part, but it was hard. I didn't really find anything, but I came across this. This is from AI Chat GPT, and it says the real truth behind Thanksgiving. It says people grew up hearing a peaceful story about pilgrims and Native Americans sitting together in harmony. But the real history behind Thanksgiving is far more complex and far more painful. The 1621 harvest meal between the Wampo Noad. My bad. Give me 1 second. Wampanoag people and the English wasn't even called Thanksgiving at all. It was simply a feast. But as years went on, colonial governments began declaring days of Thanksgiving after violent victorious against native tribes. Massacre, massacres, burned villages, and taking of indigenous lands were followed by days of celebration that reality is rarely taught, but it is the truth. Over time, we built a holiday that covers over a history of loss, suffering, and betrayal. Cranberry sauce and turkey have no historical meaning tied to blood or guts, because I was looking for it. But today, they have come to the symbolism to symbolize something deeper. The blood that was shed on native land and the lives that were torn apart as colonialists expanded, pushed out tribes, and broke treaty after treaty, whether the people realized it or not. Thanksgiving tables rest on a story that includes both a shared feast and a hidden gift. And that hidden gift was the knife in the back of the Native Americans, how they taught, the the Edomites how to grow on the land, which how that's basically how to survive. It says, for as many Native communities, Thanksgiving is not a day of celebration, but a national day of mourning, a time of honor, a time to honor ancestors, acknowledge the generations who suffered, and confront the sanitized version of Americans' beginnings. The real truth behind Thanksgiving is not meant to bring guilt, but awareness, because when we tell the full story, we tell a story that honors the people who were here first. Remember what was taken from them, and challenges us to walk in a deeper understanding of justice, history, and truth. And that's the thing, man. They have it's called his story, so he's gonna tell the story to where it benefits him, and not it doesn't. He don't want to put himself in the bad light, because everybody does that. Like they don't want to seem like they're bad or wrong or something to that effect, and that's not the case, man. But hold up, this is something I was thinking about when I was bringing up certain scriptures. Saints always in the midst. It says, this is Isaiah 28 verse 14. It says, Judah is warned. It says, wherefore hear the words of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule his people which is in Jerusalem, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. And that's the thing about Jake. Jake wants to believe in lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, and that's how they be able to comfort their souls, but not knowing that's temporal. But with truth gives you more of a extended comfort of knowing that what's right and what's wrong. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. And that's the thing. That's talking about Yahweh Shai, that cornerstone, which the builders disallowed, They didn't want Yahweh Shai to get ahead and rule, but that was all a part of the plans of Yahweh. We just acting up. We're just actors to play our part. So that's why it's good to read the script. Did you read the script? That's an inside thing. Did you read the script? It says judgment. It says Isaiah 28 verse 17. It says judgment also will I lay onto the line, the righteousness to the plummet. And that word plummet basically it's like leveling. Like when you think about a plumb line, if you ever did concrete, you have a plumb line. It's and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hidden places. That's crazy. I just thought about that. I just thought about something when King David was basically couldn't shucks when basically he basically was like a demon convinced him to go sleep with Bathsheba. It talks about that in Chronicles, right? And how like once the demon was off him, that he knew what he had done. And this is going to be the same. I just thought about this. This is going to be the same thing with these people, with these demons that's on these people, and from that Babylon juice that they have drunk, they drunk. What they said is they stagger without they stagger. My bad. They drunk. That was 29:9. Let me see. 29:9 right here. This is Isaiah 29 verse 9. Let me start at 8. It shall even be as when an hungry man dreameth, and behold, he eateth, but he awaketh, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dreameth, and behold, he drinketh, but he awaketh, and behold, he is faint, and his soul have appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. You see that? Come on, man. Look. It says, stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers, the seers. Shucks, whatever. What's it? See what's going on here. Oh, that's cool. Slot here. It says, they're strong drink. Yeah, they're drunk, man. When you're drunk, you're not all cylinders are firing. It seems like it, but it's not. It's like there's always some spiritual lowering that you get when you're drunk. Because you're in a more relaxed state. Your endorphins are being emitted in your brain, and you got that feel good, that comfort spirit. That's why. I'm not sure if I said it in the video. So it's like this time now is to go to the house of mourning, because the house of feasting, that's when you have that high endorphins being released, and you're not really aware of all your surroundings. Especially if you in that hyper having fun type mode type deal. You could lose track of certain spiritualities that come with those things, especially if you stay there too long. So that's why it's good to go to the house of mourning. The house of mourning, you actually see truth. You see pain and people in pain, or people of misfortune. And that makes you understand that your life is probably not that bad. Depending on what you're looking at and your circumstances. Even still, if you watching this video, life is not that bad. It's life is what you make it, and that's the thing about this truth. Is like you understand that it's about serving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, not man, and constantly striving for that. and having confidence in the Lord, and not in yourself, but having confidence in Yahweh Shai that you will be okay, or just pray that you are able to overcome any obstacles that come your way. Yeah, poured up deep sleep and close your eyes and probably covered. Verse 11, it says, the vision of all is become unto you as the word of the book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, say, read this, I pray thee. He saith, I'm not learned. But yeah, the whole thing, Yahweh Shai have released those seals, and that's how we're able to have the Rakah Kodash grant us wisdom and knowledge and understanding. This is Hosea. I want to get, what was it, Habakkuk? Yeah, okay. This is Hosea 4:1. It says, hear the words of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord Yahweh have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth nor mercy nor knowledge of the Most High in the land. And the thing about it is, like, what we want to receive mercy, so we show mercy. But these people don't know nothing about showing mercy because they have not known Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood. Yeah, there's a lot of killing because of all of the lying and stealing and committing adultery, right? A lot of people will say, oh, he overdid it. When a man find his woman messing with another man, it says the scriptures talk about jealousy is the rage of a man, and can't once a man is in that point, in that mindset of just wrecking things because of that, it's pretty much justified, because things are not right here. But you can't be acting like a lion in these times because your woman had acted as such acts and behaved herself to such a way. It says, therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish. The beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. See, that's how when the righteous are in authority, the people will rejoice, man. Here it is, you can't even eat too much fish because you might get mercury poison. You can't go fishing to your nearest body of water because of the pollution of the city. Here it is, Esau got all this technology, but he can't come up with some type of plant or some type of genetically modified organism to absorb pollution and things of that nature, and then have their bodies converted into something that actually helps the earth. So that's how if not, where and who is he? He, is the so-called white man that comes up with all the laws and statutes and things of that nature to rule and govern this country. Not to just country, this earth. It's super elite, the 13 royal families that ultimately have a hand in everything. It says, verse 4 says, let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priests. Therefore shall they fall in the day, and then the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I also will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of the Most High. I will also forget thy children. And that's the thing, man. You want our children to be taken care of, whether it be spiritual or biological, And throughout the time and generation, man, we're not. This fight of ours is spiritual, So you don't want to fight with the flesh. Like I said, like, we know that we are capable of doing certain things with our mental fortitude, our discipline, and our strength. But our ultimate strength relies, or our confidence relies on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is, as I was thinking about this, it says, this is Ephesians 6 and 10, because we're in the height of spiritual wickedness. You know, this is one of the worst time of the year. You know, these holidays back to back, people spending money and their minds totally geared on having fun and celebrating these wicked days, that they're feast days. Oh, he said, I despise thy feast days, you know? Yeah, how about Shema Shai? Despise their feast days. Let me see. I know this is getting pretty lengthy. I'll go ahead and just read this. Ephesians 6. I'll just start at 10. It says the armor of the Most High, or the armor of God. It says, finally, brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. You know, pray and fast and meditate. You know, give supplication to Yahweh Shai. Put on the whole armor of, reading on, Ephesians 6 and 11 says, put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Let me just look up that word wiles real quick. And this is
Strong's G 3180, Methodiah.
It says travailing, i.e., traverse, wiles, lies, and wait. Yeah, hold on. Oh, cunning acts, deceit, crafty, trickery. Yeah, so you be able to stand against his trickery. You know, so that's why we put on the whole armor of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, so we can not only stand against his trickery, but also hold our brothers, keep our brothers from slipping up from their trickery. Verse 12, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. You call that demons. We wrestle against demons, against powers, right? Another word for demons, right? Against the rulers of darkness of this world. You know, these elites, they're praying towards they're praying that their agenda is going to come to fruition. Right? It says against spiritual wickedness in high places. I don't live too far from DC, and we know that place is demonic. It got all types of symbols and demonic spirits upon it. So that's why we must maintain to keep the armor on us at all times, you know, protecting our purity for what Yahweh Shem Yahushua has given us. It says, therefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with preparation of the gospel of peace. And that's the thing, when you come into this gospel, you receive peace. You know, and even though you're going to go through your trials and tribulations there, but yet you have, it says, be of good cheer, that Yahweh shall have overcome the world. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. You know, and that's the thing, we want to take on these things so we can get ahead and prepare ourselves, so we can be at peace. When you prepare yourself the night before your day, you have more of peace of mind, because your clothes are laid out, you already have your breakfast and your lunch, and you ain't got to prepare things in the morning, rushing and trying to make your tea, and then make yourself 10 to 20 minutes late to work, or just have that rushing mindset, you know, which is not comfortable. So with that, I hope you was edified, exhorted, you know, informed. So with that, I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to my bishops, apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the brothers out there pushing words of sincerity and truth, and shalom to the elect. Shalom.